Right. Hey folks, welcome back.
What is ACT's position when it comes to under 16 social media use?
Look, I talk to parents, I talk to teachers. I'm really worried about social media's effect. But for every problem, there's a solution that is simple, neat and wrong. Just slapping on a ban, hastily drafted, won't solve the real problem. And the real problem, it has to involve parents. The solution proposed by National doesn't. The real solution has to be aware of the complexities of the internet. At the moment, it says social media is any kind of internet thing that connects two people. Well, it's practically the whole internet. That's not going to work.
Australia's managed to do it. Why can't we just copy that?
Well, Australia hasn't managed to do it. Australia's passed a law that hasn't come into effect, and already they've had to carve out YouTube. They haven't even got close to putting it in place. My point is, would be much better to have a proper, transparent, quality public inquiry, learn from the Australian mistakes instead of making the mistakes with them, which is what we'd end up doing, and actually solve this problem. I just say, if dealing with social media harm is worth doing, it's worth doing right.
Did Catherine Wedd and or the Prime Minister approach you, assuming they would have your support to make it a government bill, and then you'd quash that for them?
No, they certainly haven't been presumptuous. We never treat each other presumptuously in this government.
So what did you make of them then saying, well, it was Prime Minister saying that it may well be a government bill? So it seemed as though he was inferring that he had yours and Winston Peters' support.
Well, we've never committed support for making it a government bill. Of course, he's welcome to come to us. We're good people. If someone puts up a proposition, then we'll examine it. But I just make the point that this bill, now I've seen it, is one of those solutions to a problem that is simple, neat and wrong. This is a serious issue. It's really messing with kids' brains. You read Jonathan Haidt, you read Johann Hari, you understand the problems that we're facing. You talk to any teacher, they'll tell you the solution can't be this simple, and this simplistic solution won't work.
Do you think that this can be legislated for, and do you have an alternative bill that could be put up that you could get national support?
No, I don't think anyone has a bill that works right now. What I'd like to see is the people worried about this, the educational psychologists, the social media companies themselves, everybody come before a select committee, really thrash it out, get a solution that is technologically feasible, realistic about how the internet works, and is actually able to involve parents' role as well. At the moment, there's no role for parents on this, and that's wrong.
Legislation process?
No, I don't think it will, because if you have a starting point that assumes a solution the way that this bill does, then you're not going to put all the options on the table, and I think all the options should be on the table for this.
What types of websites do you think this could block?
Well, at the moment, editing Wikipedia would certainly count. I don't think they had that in mind. It's a great place for young people to learn stuff. At the moment, YouTube, with its comment section, a lot of people actually learn stuff from YouTube, whether you think that's good or not, they do.
Does the bill allow a minister to designate which platforms are, fit within its regime, and therefore isn't it not as broad as you make out?
Well, the bill as it's written, if you want to challenge it in court, says that a platform is defined as the following, including any platform that can connect two or more people in communication. So that you tell me how the court cases are going to come out. It's just not really thought out, and it's not really workable.
Should New Zealand Women be concerned that under the changes that Brooke Van Velden is making, that the gender pay gap is going to only get worse?
No, what we're doing is restoring the pay equity legislation to the way it was in 2017. I don't believe that we've seen significant progress since Labor made this thing a free-for-all. What Brooke Van Velden has done, Brooke Van Velden has made it fair, affordable and practical to have pay equity in this country. I actually think that Brooke Van Velden has saved the taxpayer billions, she's saved the budget for the government, and she has made pay equity workable for New Zealand women, New Zealand men, and actually everyone who wants a fair go in this country.
Labor made what you call the free-for-all legislation in conjunction with and helped have it crafted by the National Party. Nicola Willis in 2020 in her speech said that she wanted it on the record and noted that National had helped craft that legislation. So is this a situation where I guess Brooke Van Velden has had to convince the National Party to make these changes because they seem to support it previously?
Look, I think Brooke is a real star. She has navigated very sensitive topics, very technically difficult, and she's come up with a fair, affordable and workable version of pay equity that preserves the rights of New Zealand women and make sure that our country can actually afford it. You know, these Labor guys, they put forward all these promises, but they can't actually afford them. And what the point is a political promise without the moolah behind it?
These changes are being pushed through under urgency, and you're not going to have any kind of select committee process or kind of consultation there. But then when you talk about the social media ban, you're calling for a select committee review and wanting to hear all voices. So why the difference?
There was extensive select committee inquiries into pay equity when it was passed back in 2016, 2017. We're really just returning it to that. Going out and trying to ban a fragment of the internet for a part of the population, the number of unintended consequences and unknowns in that is absolutely stupendous.
Do people not deserve to have their say on a change after 10 years?
A change that will make it like it was. We know how it was. I believe that this law is simply returning to what we know works from what is unfair, unaffordable and unworkable.
That's making an argument for legislation never being able to evolve.
Yeah.
Well, the legislation evolved, but actually I would say it devolved because what was created was a framework that was unaffordable, was unworkable, led to absurd comparisons where, for example, you were saying that somebody who's a maths, a clerical administrator was like a mechanical engineer. I mean, I'm an electrical engineer, I know mechanical engineers aren't that great, but that's an unfair comparison.
So you can hand on heart promise that women are not going to be worse off, the gender pay gap is not going to get any worse because of these changes. You can fully commit to that.
Absolutely. Women are not going to be worse off because of these changes. There will be a whole lot of other factors that make pay rates for different people in our economy go up and down. You know what? The number one thing is growing our economy, and that means that if you want to get paid more, you produce more, you get paid more. You don't go off to the Employment Relations Authority and have some crazy comparator make up or wage and try and get wealthy that way, because we ain't going to get wealthy by passing more laws. We're going to get wealthy by producing more valuable goods and services.
So is it exposition that if you change legislation or revert it to a previous iteration, that consultation or a select committee process is necessary?
I think if you're getting rid of bad laws, particularly if you are taking laws, no, because you're taking
not everyone's going to agree with these changes.
Because you're getting rid of an extension and going back to something that had already been routinely consulted on. Now I ask you this question: if we consulted on something in 2017, we're largely going back to the same thing. Should we consult again on something we've already consulted about? If I did that, the New Zealand Herald would probably say we're wasting people's time and money.
Do you have a
Yeah. No worries, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, David.